Circle definitions of radius, diameter, circumference, and pi. What are they? 2D objects where each point is the same distance from the center. Y symbolize harmony and unity. Interesting fact, a male duck is called a drake, a female duck a hen, and a baby duck a duckling. Now, let's take a look at this circle and the dot in the middle. A dot in the middle is called the center. And now let's go ahead and talk about what a radius is. A radius is the distance from the center to the edge. If we take a look at that red line, it starts from the center and goes to the edge. You may be wondering, can we draw the radius anywhere? And the answer to that is yes, as long as you draw from the edge and go to the center, we have our radius. So right there, we have 3 radiuses that have been drawn, but in reality, you have an infinite number of radiuses that you can draw. Or you may hear the term radii. And now, as we can see, it doesn't matter where we go, as long as we have a radius drawn from the center to the edge of the circle. Now let's talk about the diameter, and that is the distance from the edge to another through the center. And we can see on the screen that the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. So once again, like the radius, it doesn't matter where we draw it, as long as we have the line going from one edge to the other edge through the center. And there we have a diameter. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the circumference. Why is there a square on the screen? Well, we're going to be talking about the perimeter of the square. So we're going to lay each side length right next to each other, and we can see that the perimeter forms a line. And now we're going to overlap line with a black line, and we're slowly going to peel away the black line, and when we do, eventually it will form a circle. So in this case, the circle has a perimeter, but there's a special word for it, which I've already said, and that is circumference. So the circumference is the distance around the circle. Now let's talk about what pi is. Pi is the ratio of 2 different distances on a circle. And those distances are distance around the circle, which we've already talked about, and that is the circumference, and distance across the circle, which we've already talked about, and that is the diameter. So let's go ahead and write it like that, where it is circumference over the diameter. And so we can say pi is equal to the distance around the circle over distance across the circle, or we could just say pi is equal to circumference over diameter. Now let's see what we have. We have a black line that represents the diameter, and now we're going to color it red, and we're going to use that distance and put it along the edge of the circle or the circumference, and we can see that one diameter is not quite long enough to cover the entire circumference. So let's color it again with a different color. We're going to color it orange, and we're going to add that same distance to the edge of the circle or the circumference, and we can see that 2 diameters is not quite long enough to cover the edge of the circle. Let's do it one more time. So we're going to color diameter purple. We're going to put that same distance on the edge of the circle or the circumference, and we can see that 3 diameters is not quite long enough to cover the edge of the circle or the circumference, so we have a little bit left over, and that little bit left over is 0.14 diameters. And if we add all those diameters up along the edge of the circle or the circumference, we get 3.14 diameters is equal to 1 circumference. And that number 3.14 should sound familiar, and that's because it is pi. And pi is an irrational number, and it goes on forever. That is what irrational means. And now we can say that the number is 3.14159,265, and so on and so forth. And now it is your turn, so go ahead and pause the video so you can match these definitions, and I will show you the answers in 3, 2, and 1. If you got them correct, well done. If not, there's always tomorrow.